Hey y'all, it's your favorite duck here, Derek the Duck. And today we're going to talk about some fashion of the different Draculas, or Draculae, if we're going to be plural about it. So I wanted to just see what the Draculas sort of look like. The older Draculas, when they're like 400 years old, I think that's like the cool version of Dracula. No one really cares about like the first one where he's Vlad and he's like wandering the streets. I think that he's not quite fashionable yet. What I've noticed from the different Dracula movies is that Dracula it takes him about 400 years to learn how to dress and how to be stylish. I myself have another, 375 more years to go before I learn how to be cool as well. But, I was just sort of watching, looking at pictures of the Draculas, and I feel like we need to talk about it. So the original, like one of the first ones that I ever saw was the Francis Ford Coppola, Bram Stoker's Dracula, as it was titled. If you saw the trailer for that, it was a great trailer. You see Gary Oldman with his hair in like a bun, like a giant, like it's two buns really, almost like a sort of, inverted Princess Leia thing, I don't know. And it's all like silver, and he also has a long braid in the back. And he's wearing, I don't know, it's like a red kimono or something. Anyway, I remember when I first saw the trailer for that, I was at the movies seeing something, I don't know, like Beetlejuice or something like that. And I was like, what is this? Like, that's not the Dracula as you sort of remember, like from other movies where he's just like in a tuxedo with like a widow's peak and just running around being like, Dracula-ly, This was different, and I was really interested in seeing the movie just to see what Gary Oldman is wearing and why. So you see the movie Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula, and they don't really explain how he went from, wandering the streets of, I don't know, London with, sunglasses and a hat to all of a sudden looking like, I don't even know what that is. I don't understand. I don't know what you would even call this. He looks like a sort of Transylvanian geisha or something like that. So yeah, he looks like he's about 400 years old, maybe 1,000. And he sort of wanders his magnificent castle in this outfit. I'm not sure how he gets it dry cleaned or how he comes about this decision. But it's quite an interesting one. He's got long nails. He just looks super cool. So I really liked that version of it. Watching it again, like I said, there really is no explanation as to how this sort of comes to be, but it's very a very interesting take on the older Dracula, and I think he looks, tremendous and spectacular and really cool. So that was really great. And last year, or this year, earlier this year, they come out with a new Dracula every like couple of years. I think it must have gotten out of copyright or something, like those Winnie the Pooh ones, where he kills more and more people each movie, something like that. So There's another Dracula this year. It was called Nosferatu's. They'll just change the title. They'll hearken to some other version of Dracula, but it's all the same thing. This time it's got what, Bill Skarsgård or whatever, and I'm not really a fan of this new old Dracula. This one looks, I would say he's the least fashionable of all the Draculas. He does not have a magnificent headpiece at all. In fact, it's okay if he's bald, but he should put on a wig of some sort. You know what I'm saying? Instead, he just has a mustache, which is, anyway. And he just wears like this fur overcoat. And, he's really, he doesn't have the gown. He doesn't have the magnificent hair. It's just, I think that is the least fashionable Dracula I've ever seen, and I just wasn't a fan of this movie, and you can see why. This is there is nothing spectacular about that at all. But what I'm most excited about seeing is the new Dracula. It's going to come out next month, I think. It's called Dracula: A Love Tale, is some of its titles, with Caleb Landry Jones, who was a very bizarre choice for Dracula. But would you just look at this guy. Now this is an outfit. Look at this. This has to be the most fashionable old Dracula I've ever seen. He looks absolutely amazing. He's got, I don't know what this thing is on his head. It's like some kind of a styrofoam. It's like one of those like a neck pillow on an airplane. He has it sort of stapled to the top of his head, and then he takes all of his gray hair or silver hair and sort of wraps it around the neck pillow, right? And then he just sort of, staples it to the top of his head, and then he lets the rest of it come down. It's kind of like a, almost like a beehive, I think that's what it's called, like that thing that Amy Winehouse used to have. They would put that big thing, or Elvira, they'd put that big sort of nest on the top, and then let parts of it sort of flow down. And that's what Caleb Landry Jones is doing here. He's also got this magnificent gown. I've never seen anything like it, except maybe at the Met Gala. It's long and it's flowing. Look at that. And there's even sort of a lace sort of applique around the arms. It's really cool. It almost looks like one of those tattoo sleeves of some sort. It really is a good idea. I think Madonna sort of hides her arms in a similar fashion. Yeah, and then he's got rings on every single finger. It's really cool how he does that, and they're interesting. They're really beautiful. I don't know what type they are, but he's really showing off that bling. He's really living his best life. Yes, it took 400 years, but look at that. Just magnificent. This is truly how old Dracula is supposed to, present himself. It's very regal. It's very striking, and I absolutely love it. So, this is the movie I cannot wait to see. Dracula: A Love Tale. It's from director Luc Besson. He's like, a major director, and this is definitely going to be the movie to watch. Yes, there's going to be some boring parts of it where Caleb Landry Jones is just wandering the streets looking like, young and handsome. But, if you want to see that, just watch The Duck Show. You don't need to see that on every movie. So, but what I really want to see is this. creature, you know, we're seeing in front of us, this magnificent entity in the full sort of Dracula almost, if you will. This is just really quite something. So anyway, I hope we've discussed this very important piece of information, and I think this is very timely as well to discuss old Dracula and his various sort of ensembles that he wears, because it's something that's, I think, is going to move us forward as a society. So anyway, thank you for listening to my story. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I talk about all kinds of random, ridiculous things, but right now this is definitely on my mind, and I think it should be on yours too if it isn't already. So thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.